Hi guys, this is Kim from Creative DIY Purpose. Welcome. I am so glad that you're here. If you like DIY Christmas decor on a budget, thrift, flips, and upcycling, then you're in the right place. And you're going to love today's video because I have 10 different projects for you. So let's get started. Okay, so for project number one, you only need a few supplies, some fake snow, some clear jars, and some of the little bottle brushes, and you just put some hot glue down at the bottom just to get it stabilized. And then you just pour your snow in, and don't worry if your jar does not have a lid, because you can go ahead. I'm going to use this lace doily. Part of it was stained. I actually got that, I think, for free over the summer at a yard sale, and I'm just putting a rubber band on, and now I'm going around the top with some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to cut right underneath that rubber band, and I'm going to save those scraps for another project. And then I'm going to take some of that Mod Podge and we're going to glue some vintage lace, and then just give the whole thing just a really thin, light coat of Mod Podge just to seal everything in. And then I'm going to let this piece dry overnight. So this is a super affordable project. I got all of those glass jars, even that antique ideal jar from Ball, for free. The only cost that I had was the snow and the bristle brushes from the Dollar Tree. And then add the embellishments of your choice. One of the most affordable, easiest ways to make a beautiful Christmas display is take your already existing collections and arrange them and put them on display together. You can put them on a tray, or here I just used some Christmas balls that I got at a yard sale, put them in a clear cylinder. I just took some of the kids' crafting beads and went ahead and put them in an antique mason jar and added some vintage lace. These beautiful salt and pepper shakers I got at a yard sale, and the tops on the inside were rusted, so they can't be used. So I just add some colorful buttons. And here I just put some of Sophia's milk glass collection and added some brass. Okay, so ever since I saw Nicole over at the Green Onion Vintage repurpose some of her wooden rolling pins with a vintage style poster, I have been on this search for some type of vintage paper that I could go ahead and use. And I actually found the perfect piece. I have a folder of vintage gift wrap paper, and I actually remember this paper from when I was a child. My mother gave me this folder because she knew that I would repurpose these and just love them. So I went ahead, I got this rolling pin, I believe for $3.99 at the thrift store. I added some Kilts paint, which is actually the color of pickle juice, so I thought that that was perfect. And now I'm just going through kind of tearing off the edges because I want to keep this vintage look going. Also, I will link Nicole's channel below. She has some incredible videos and creative ideas that you guys will love. I'm here, all I'm doing is applying a thin layer of Mod Podge. I'm just going to try to seal out any wrinkles or bubbles. It's okay if it's going to have a few wrinkles because I'm going to go in the end. After I seal this piece with some spray sealer, I will go ahead and lightly sand it with fine grit sandpaper, and I will probably do that process twice. And then in the end, I will add 2 to 3 coats of polyacrylic, but I'm going to let this piece dry overnight just to make sure that everything adheres the way that I want it to. And then I'm just going to take some jute string and tie a slip knot through the top. I'll show you more of a reveal in a bit. Another super affordable way to decorate is to just take some of your already existing kitchenware and adding pine cones, a candle. And so here I have my vintage tea set, and these are some of the Snow Kiss bowl fillers that I sell. Just add some beautiful winter beauty, and the great thing about that is you don't have to take them down once Christmas is over, you can keep them up all winter long. And here I just took a small metal cheese grater, put one of the faux candles in there, which I will link in the description below. And I have this little cast iron frying pan, just put some greenery in it and a bow. And then I have this vintage style one. And then also online, I do have a beautiful, it's all rusty. This is how beautiful that is. But you can put your utensils in there and decorate with a wreath on the bottom, or even mount it on the wall and hang a Christmas towel from it. And here I have a thrifted sifter, and I just went ahead and painted the wooden knob the same green color here that I did the rolling pin, and just tied on a bow and threw in some greenery. And I really love the way that rolling pin came out, but I'm not keeping it. I've already promised myself it's going to the consignment shop this week. All right, so another promise that I made to myself was for the month of November, I was not going to purchase any new crafting items. So here I am I have all of this pipberry garland that I've been decorating with for years, and I decided to take one of them and just make some mini wreaths. And they are so super easy. You just twist them around until you get the look that you want. And there I have a simple rag wreath that I made with scraps of fabric. I showed that in our cottage core video. And now I'm just going to take some of the lamb's ear and make a wreath using a wide mouth mason jar screw band and some of the $2 lamb's ear that you get at Walmart. And once you have it all glued on, I just alternated them from the bigger leaves to the medium leaves. So now I'm just cutting out around the middle. And then I have some of this rope that I purchased over the summer at the Dollar Tree, along with that little welcome metal sign. Okay, so here I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can use little homemade wreaths. I purchased this frame with the wire in it for 50 cents at a yard sale, and I apologize. I don't have any of the video where I painted the frame. I did use chiffon cream from Rust-Oleum, and I had this grapevine wreath that I used from the end of some grapevines that I had, so it's kind of flimsy. So that's why I went ahead and attached it to this frame just using some jute string, and I'll show you guys. There it is, right along the back. And I took that Dollar Tree rope and went around the edges because that wire is stapled in and I did not want anyone getting injured. Plus I want a nice finished look. And I just put some jute string on there for a hanger. And then on the front, I just added a bow and a pine cone. I did add a little bit of the chiffon cream paint to some of that greenery, just for a snowy look. All right, so I think one of my favorite things to repurpose are these silver trays and platters. And I picked this one up. I think that one says $3.99. Actually, they were both $3.99 at our thrift store over the summer. And they've just been sitting out there wanting to be repurposed. So again, I'm just taking one of those wreaths. Now, this was a huge long pine garland that I purchased for $2 at a church sale recently. And I'm just going to go ahead, make a circle with it, put on some of the extra small lamb's ear that I had from the other project, put some berries on, and just going to go ahead, find a piece of ribbon. Kind of really wasn't happy with the look of this one because it kind of frays. It's got that burlap. So I wanted a more finished look, and I think that that one works. I wished I had thinner ribbon when I was going through this, but I promised myself I wasn't going to buy anything and I had to use what I had. So I just folded it over just to give it a more finished look. And then we're going to go ahead and just attach it to the platter by tying some jute string through those holes on the side. So it actually worked out really well that they were both designed like this. I hope that some of these ideas spark your creativity and that you can look around your home and maybe see different things that you can decorate this holiday season. And don't forget at the end of the video to comment below which one of these projects was your favorite. So I've decided to part with my beautiful Swan. I've had him for over a dozen years, but he needs a refresh. Going to get 2 coats of Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint, and then I'm going to put dry brush on some Waverly Steel chalk paint, and then I'm going to go through and distress him, and I'm going to take that wreath from earlier and put it right around his neck. So he is all ready for a new home. And it just goes to show that you can add those little homemade wreaths just about to any piece of decor in your home for a cozy, rustic holiday feel. All right, so our next upcycled projects are going to be some of these metal pocket baskets. And I originally bought this one for 50 cents over the summer, and I didn't like the way that it came out. So what I went ahead and did was added some DIY dark wax to the poinsettia to give it a more realistic look. And I did the same thing to the actual metal basket. I really want the items that I'm taking to the consignment shop to kind of all match and coordinate. And this just gave it that rustic age feel. And I was really happy. And I even took some of the dark wax and lightly added it onto the ribbon just to help give it that aged look. You could also use coffee or tea. This was just so much easier. You could even do watered down brown paint as well. Now the poinsettia, I had to add some weight to it just to get it to lay flat. And then I went out and sprayed it with a sealer. We're also going to apply the same technique to the next metal basket that has hung on my side door for like a dozen years, and I am also parting with it. It's got chips, but look at the beautiful embossing. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a fresh coat of paint. And then I took this 6-foot greenery. Again, I bought this years ago, and I cut it up in pieces to be able to go through and just add as embellishments to some of these items. But look at how amazing that one came out. And my wicker wall pocket, I am not going to get rid of, but see how just adding some pine cones can just add a beautiful winter touch. I picked up these 2 pieces over the summer for $1.99 each and gave them both 3 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint and linen white, and look at how good they came out. I added some faux candle in one and some greenery in another just to show you the different options. And then there they are with just the faux candles. All right, so here's the piece to that garland that I cut up. So that gives you another option to buying a big long piece of garland, cutting it off into little picks and just adding them into different pitchers, vases, just about any place. Aren't these beautiful Italian pictures absolutely gorgeous? I picked them up for $2, and I believe that they are vintage, and they're also going to the consignment shop. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for more. I'll see you next week, and God bless.